We have the chance because we have dedicated agencies. We have objectives to reach. And also, we have the chance in this city of Marrakesh, where you're very welcome. In this city of Marrakesh, we organized 2 COP, the COP7 in 2001 and the COP22 in 2016. I had the chance to be at the head of the Public-Private Partnership Commission. And that's why I'm very glad that today we have the public sector and the private sector involved in this MITMED. Another point, in this hotel, during the COP22, we organized an event with the 50 business federations, but also with the financial sector. I would like to thank the financial sector to be present today, because when talking about energy efficiency, renewable energy, you need green financing, and green financing is a key for all our projects, as you mentioned. I'm very glad today because the MITMED, but also the support for European Union. We are the May 9th today, and I think it's the day of Europe, but we are glad because this country has a Green Deal, and we are the only country, not in the EU, having a Green Deal with EU. So it's clear that we can think, and the whole region, the Mediterranean region, we had the chance and to thank, of course, RECRE. Thank you, Jawad, for your presence here, and thank you really very much for all the support that you're giving to the all agencies in the region. Also, thank you to MEDENER. I had the chance to be president of MEDENER a few years ago, and I'm sure that all the actors and, of course, all the participants today, sharing experiences, sharing opportunities, it's a key also for our region because we have many projects to develop together. Madame la Ministre was expecting to be with us today, but she didn't manage because the government has an event today in Rabat, but she sent us a message and she said that she wanted to be here, but let's listen to Madame la Ministre, Leila Ben Ali, Minister of the Transition Energy and Energy Transition and Sustainable Development. Madame la Ministre, Leila Ben Ali.
Ladies and gentlemen, representatives of the Arab League of States, representatives of the European Union, ladies and gentlemen, members of the MEDER, Mr. Executive Director of RECRE, and Mr. Director General of AMI, the Moroccan Agency for Energy Efficiency, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon. First of all, I would like to congratulate AMI and the Mediterranean Association for National Energy Management Agencies, MEDENER, and the Regional Center for Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energies, RECRE, for the opening of the second edition of MITMED in Marrakesh. It's really a great opportunity to consolidate the ties of regional cooperation in the countries of the southern and eastern banks of the Mediterranean, and really highlights the importance of energy efficiency in a robust and sustainable energy policy. Ladies and gentlemen, I would have loved to be with you today, but other commitments have taken me away from Marrakesh. But hopefully, technology is enabling us to be together. Dear colleagues, 2022 will remain in history as a year of deep changes and revolutions in the energy markets. It will also be remembered as the year when consumers and policymakers favored short-term security over sustainability. The short-term and the long-term are becoming more and more intertwined, and governments have to keep those 30 years net zero targets alive while supporting their populations to finish the month. There are several countries, including Morocco, which have undertaken adaptation measures ranging from public awareness campaigns to sobriety and energy efficiency experiments. The Kingdom of Morocco is committed to a national energy transition policy for sustainable development. and of course places this issue at the heart of its public policies. Under the leadership of His Majesty the King, may God assist him, we have increased the security, the sustainability, and flexibility of our system based on the 3 pillars of our energy strategy. We have enabled more and more renewables, we have increased integration with global markets, and we have pursued more and more energy efficiency in a very integrated way. Ladies and gentlemen, as you already know, we have more than 4 gigawatts of renewable capacity installed in Morocco. And our renewed ambition requires acceleration and scaling up of projects. We have an objective today to install nearly 700 megawatts to 1 gigawatt of additional capacity every year for the next 5 years, 3/4 of which will be renewables. We also want to make sure that we improve return on capital employed, and we need the private sector, the national and international private sector, to be committed with us in this energy transition journey. We've managed also in 2022 to update the legal framework by liberalizing self-consumption. Anyone who can get access to renewable energy in order to access electricity at lower costs and control your energy consumption and reduce your bills. We've also improved the law on renewables for utility scale projects by imposing more transparency, a better governance, more efficient and standardized administrative process for authorization, for permitting, etc. We've also set up for the first time in the region the concept of green certificates. As far as energy efficiency is concerned, that's a key pillar, the second key pillar of our energy strategy, to reduce energy bills for the citizens, for people living and working in Morocco, and for the entire country. And we want to incentivize energy savings. So we have a number of measures that have significant saving potential, very short payback periods, and their impacts could be highly beneficial in terms of job creation and added value to the economy. The importance of energy efficiency is highlighted in our regulatory framework. We have a number of decrees related to building regulations, setting the energy performance rules for buildings. We have mandatory energy audits, setting minimum energy performance, and we also have the development of energy service companies, in particular making it possible to diversify the sources of financing for projects. We see very high energy savings potential in transportation, in buildings, in industry, and in public lighting and in agriculture. The effective execution of energy efficiency measures could allow to save up to 20% of our total energy consumption by 2030, and I personally think this is an underestimation of our potential. We need to be even more ambitious. The ministry is updating the exemplarity pact of the state with local authorities. We want to give new impetus to energy efficiency measures in public administrations and state-owned companies. We want to rationalize their consumption and reduce our energy bill. We're closely monitoring all the trends towards smart and connected cities and their impact on buildings. And we want to develop connected, smart and energy efficient habitats, as well as resilient and integrated territories in order to improve the living standards of everyone living in Morocco. As far as R&D and innovation is concerned, we have Irazen, our research institute, and the private sector that are essential for upgrading energy buildings and for the rationalization and control of consumption. But as you know, ladies and gentlemen, energy efficiency policy has to be executed regularly and gradually, but more and more regularly. So the ministry has launched a campaign to raise public awareness in July 2022 about the need to save energy. The slogan is, the mantra is, energy saving is a benefit for us and for our country in order to change consumer behavior and adopt good energy efficiency practices. And in order to really consolidate energy efficiency in the national discourse, we've launched on November 1st, 2022, a very unique initiative to encourage consumers to look closely at their bills and improve their electricity consumption in exchange for a reward to encourage energy savings. We've noticed that the results of this unique experiment showed an electricity demand drop, particularly in December 2022. And it has also shown a very positive behavior from consumers and a total reduction of consumption of around 800 gigawatt hours. This is, of course, has a very positive impact on the national energy bill, in particular the financial situation of our national TSO, ONE, in addition to reducing a national electricity consumption. And of course, this measure aims to anchor a sense of national solidarity and the commitment of all customers to optimize their electricity consumption through the adoption of best practices in terms of energy efficiency. These results are very encouraging, but it should not be a one-off. We need to consolidate this initiative in time by repeatedly setting up concrete initiatives for consumers to consume more efficiently in the medium and long run. The third key pillar of our energy strategy, that's integration and cooperation with international markets. It's really one key pillar to strengthen the links between all the agencies for energy management in the southern and eastern banks of the Mediterranean. Like the MidMed projects, we want to harmonize energy efficiency strategies and policies for buildings, household appliances in the whole region. We want to design and implement pilot actions and more sustainable actions. We want to increase capacity building. We want to facilitate access to financing for all these sectors. We want to raise awareness of the transition to clean energy, clean and efficient energy for the buildings and appliance sectors. In Morocco, its regional cooperation is really a third key pillar of our energy strategy. So we do promote energy efficiency at the regional level. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that today's exchanges and discussions will enable you and enable all the different stakeholders to make concrete and sustainable proposals to contribute to more resilient, more competitive, and more flexible energy systems. I wish you very fruitful discussions and partnerships to embark with us in our energy transition. Thank you for your kind attention.
Merci, Madame la Ministre. Thank you very much. We got this message, long message, because we believe that energy efficiency is a key also in our energy policy. And to have a strong political support, it is really important. We know agencies, we are many agencies here in the regions, and to have these messages, it's for the whole region, not only for our country, but for the whole region. It's a matter of to be the more energy efficient today, it's a key. Knowing what's going on climate issue, knowing what's going on geopolitical issue, for energy, it's really, and we are glad that today we have this MidMed event here in Marrakesh with all the partners. I'll give the floor. I would like to present.
Thank you so much, Mr. Saïd Moulin. Good morning, everyone. My name is Manal Bernoussi, and it's a great pleasure and honor for me to be with you here today. I'll just head here to the center so I can see you all. Welcome to Marrakesh, everyone. مرحبا بضيوفنا الكرام. A very, very warm welcome also to all of you there who are watching us on the streaming. We see you. We want to see you interact with us. So it's really a great pleasure to have you here with us. So we are all gathered here for the second MidMed Week. Last year, the first edition was in Egypt, and now this is certainly becoming a flagship event for the Mediterranean area as a whole. I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that the value that you will get here is tremendous. The team has been doing a marvelous work, and we're all committed to bringing you as much value as possible. We have great experts and all the key stakeholders involved. And the way the week has been structured is really meant to foster international cooperation. So there will be a series of panel discussions, meetings, seminars, technical workshops, and also a site visit and networking event. So a couple of housekeeping items before I introduce the agenda. Some of our speakers will be speaking English and some will speak French, right? So make sure that you grab a headphone to listen to the language of your choice. Headphones are available for you just at the entrance of this room, English, French, and Arabic. And cheers to the amazing team back there who is taking care of the translation. And the event is also streamed online, so please make sure to spread the word to your colleagues and partners. So today marks the opening ceremony, and we will focus on 2 high-level sessions, bringing together experts representing different key institutions in the sector. And we will also be hearing more about the MED2 project, and then we'll have about an hour and a half to break for lunch, which will be served at the restaurant on the other side of the pool. This afternoon will feature sessions with more specific focuses, including the role of local authorities and the financing mechanisms related to the energy sector. After that, we will have an award ceremony for the 3 nominated projects for climate change adaptation, which is also a highlight of today. And then you are all invited for a cocktail reception around the pool, which is also a highlight of the day, right? Tomorrow, the first half of the day will be dedicated to the MED Sustainable Energy Investment Forum, bringing together a panel of different actors involved in financing the energy transition, such as banks. Hello to our colleagues from the financial sector, also the private sector, authorities, as well as some partners representing agencies. And the afternoon will be dedicated to a training session on the theme of monitoring and evaluation, which is really essential in measuring the impact of public policies. So make sure you do not miss that session. Very briefly, on Thursday, there will be technical working groups inspired by the European concerted actions. So that will take place. And then the last day on Friday, you will be heading to Ben Green Energy Park for a site visit. So lots of opportunities to exchange, lots of opportunities to share views and opinions. We will hope that you will make the most out of these opportunities. We certainly want, and we certainly hope that you will get a maximum value from all of these for a more sustainable and inclusive growth in the Mediterranean region. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our first high-level session on the topic of energy climate transition in the Mediterranean region. Mr. Saeed Moulin, if you don't mind, can you please join me so we can welcome our guests? Please, Mr. Saeed Moulin. So let's start by giving an energetic round of applause to Mr. Giorgio Graditi, co-host of this event and president of MEDENER, who is joining us from Roma. Please, team, if we can have him on the screen, it would be amazing.
You're welcome. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do. How are you doing, sir? Can you hear us?
Okay, it's okay for me.
Perfect. Now, please stay with us. We'll come back to you in just a second. Let's welcome on stage Mr. Jawad Al-Kharraz, Executive Director of RECRE, the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, and also co-host of the event. Welcome, sir. Now we're welcoming Dr. Ahmed Mohina, First Under-Secretary at the Egyptian Ministry of Electricity and Renewable Energy. Welcome, sir. Please welcome on stage Mr. Mohammed Bernanou, Member of the Board of ANRE, the Authority of Electricity Regulation in Morocco. It's time for us now to welcome Mr. Touano Kiri, Deputy Director of Institut de la Francophonie pour le Développement Durable. Bienvenue, monsieur. Please help me welcome on stage Dr. Samir Rashidi, Acting General Manager of Institute of Research for Solar Energy and New Energies, d'IRSN. Bienvenue à vous. And last but certainly not least, Mr. Mohammed Al-Husseini, energy expert at the Union for Mediterranean Secretariat. Thank you, Mr. Saeed Moulin.
Just one point, we'd like to thank really very much all the team organizing this event from AME, RECRE, and MEDENER. They work together I hope the logistic was okay, the travel was okay, and it's really important to look at. Thank you very much that the team were working for that since many weeks today, and I would like to thank them. Thank you, and I'll give you the floor.
Thank you, sir. We'll see you for the second high-level session. Please have a seat, gentlemen. So, welcome, gentlemen. I'll just approach. We have enough seats for everyone. Great. So thank you for joining us today. It's a pleasure really to have you. We will do 2 rounds of questions, okay? So you will have around 5 minutes each for each question. We will first start with an overview, okay, to get a sense of what each organization is working on. And then we will do a second round to focus on next steps and recommendations, okay? Let's dive in. So, Mr. Giorgio Graditi, I'll start with you, sir. You are Director General of ENEA, Italian National Agency for New Technologies, Energy and Sustainable Economic Development, and you held various positions, including that of Director of the Department of Energy Technologies and Renewable Sources. Since 2019, you have been the President of MEDENER, an association, as we know, that is recognized by the European Commission, and that brings together the national agencies of the Mediterranean countries that are engaged in the field of efficiency and renewable sources. And you are also a published author, as I read. Can you please start us off by telling us what is the role of MEDENER in accelerating the energy transition in the Mediterranean region? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Firstly, many thanks for the invitation, and I apologize for not being in Marrakesh for personal reasons. Thank you to each and every one of you for attending the second MidMed week hosted by our esteemed partner, AME, that I would like to warmly thank for the excellent organization of our annual regional event. Looking at the question, just a brief presentation of MEDENER. MEDENER brings together 30 national energy agencies from the northern and southern shores of the Mediterranean in charge of implementing public policies on energy efficiency and promotion of renewable energy source, 2 key conditions for the success of the energy transition. Net is based on network of more than 1,000 experts in different sectors, from energy to environment, working close cooperation with the national central administration and governments by providing them expertise to design energy efficiency and renewable energy policies and programs. The association, moreover, participates in the work carried out in the framework of the Union of Mediterranean and is a relevant stakeholder of the UFM energy platform for renewable energy and energy efficiency, together with our esteemed partner, RECRE. So, in the last years, since 2018, MEDENER has been coordinating together with RECRE, the MidMed project, Mitigation Enabling Energy Transition in the Mediterranean region, to support the path of the energy and the climate transition in our region, with the final goal to develop an efficient and climate resilient environment in the Mediterranean countries. So, in the last few years, the attention to renewable energy and energy efficiency sectors has been constantly increasing in the Mediterranean region, even if there still are many bottlenecks and difficulties. The first one, there are strong growth trend in energy demand in the southern Mediterranean countries, and there are growing concerns of sustainable socioeconomic development and security of supply. So accelerating the energy transition in the Mediterranean will act to control the energy demand, to promote renewable resources, and to optimize the use of fossil resources. The Mediterranean has a lot of potential for improvement, but this potential is still largely underexploited. Many self-made countries have set significant energy efficiency and renewables goals. Yet, energy efficiency and the renewable source remain marginal contributors to their energy mix as whole. there is a need for a common vision in the Mediterranean region based on some crucial points. A near zero emissions trend, no full decarbonization for the SAF-MED, more renewable energy sources, energy efficiency efforts in building and mobility, emphasis on hydrogen and its derivatives such as ammonia and so on, and smart sector integration incorporating source vectors and interconnections. SAF-MED countries face some of the same and some different problems compared to the European Union member states. The political goals are there, but tools to realize them are needed. There is often significant weakness of law enforcement. The MEDENER members in this context, the National Agency for Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy, could be key players in this scenario, acting as technical arms for the relevant ministries and already involved in the framework of bilateral or regional cooperation actions. Our experience shows the importance of a qualified common approach where policymakers, national agency, and network of experts work together to deliver concrete measures, action, always taking into consideration also the difference between Arab countries. In this framework, MEDENER, together with other relevant stakeholders, contribute to this common vision by facilitating the sharing of experiences, know-how and best practice among its members, international partners, through bilateral or multilateral cooperation, common projects aimed at accelerating the transfer of skills, methodologies, and technologies related to energy efficiency and renewable energy. So the MEDENER approach is based on common principles of dialogue, multilateralism, regional cooperation. We aim at improving our knowledge and understanding. We have to make knowledge largely available and turn it into concrete solutions like the regional network of experts that has been established in MITMED1 and the identification of bankable projects that is being currently done in the second phase of the project to have a leverage effect on the private investment. To conclude, to improve capacity building and to sharing knowledge, it's crucial to perform at two levels, at two directions. Strategic policy level target, policymakers, the goal is to improve the harmonization and monitoring of legislation, regulations, and standards in renewable energy and energy efficiency, and for example, the building sector, by fostering exchanges of information, experience between northern and southern countries' partners. The second level regards the implementation level target, local stakeholders and public authorities, technical experts, associations, suppliers, consultants, energy managers, general public. The object is to promote renewable energy and energy efficiency and smart sector integration measures and action through the capacity building, trainings, tools, and demonstration action and awareness raising campaigns.
Thank you very much. Two levers that are really clear in order to reach that full potential that we know is available for us in this region. Thank you so much, sir. We'll be back with you. Please stay with us. We have a follow-up question later on with you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, Dr. Jawad Al-Kharraz, moving on to you. You are the Executive Director of the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, which is an intergovernmental organization with a diplomatic status based in Cairo with 17 Arab countries on board. You brought in over 20 years of experience in various sustainable energy fields, including energy policies, wind and solar technologies, green hydrogen, just to name a few. Now, COP27 was an important spot for RECRE in view of the climate and energy transition agendas. What are the main outcomes and benefits for the Mediterranean region, and what perspective MedCop and COP28 could bring next June and next December? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Sabah al-Khair, bonjour. It's a real pleasure to be with you today, not only as Director of RECRE, the Regional Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency, RECRE, but also as a Moroccan. I'm really grateful to our partners, in particular, Lame, Mr. Saeed Moulin and his team. They are doing an amazing job, not only at the level of what they are doing in terms of boosting energy efficiency efforts in Morocco, but also, in organizing this such big events. But obviously also, I'm grateful also to our partners, Medener, for, not only implementing together successfully the MITMED project, but also in organizing such an event. So as you said, RICRI is an intergovernmental organization based in Cairo. We have 17 Arab countries on board through the Ministries of Energy. The main mandate since its creation more than 12 years ago is to support the energy transition process in the Arab countries and promoting also the investment of private sector in these areas. Since then, so we have been providing technical assistance to our member states in different areas, facilitating access to finance, implementing studies, developing knowledge management, sharing of good practices, capacity development, engaging private sector in concrete projects, etc. Obviously, in COP27, organized by Egypt last year, was a big momentum. As RICRI, based in Egypt, so we had a very intensive 2 weeks in Sharm el-Sheikh. It was an opportunity for us to gather all our partners through more than 32 sessions. We almost covered all the areas of our activities. We showcased MITMED project, what we did in MITMED in different areas in terms of enforcing the national codes of energy efficiency in building and appliances, in terms of engaging the private sector and the financial institutions in the Mediterranean Sustainable Investment Forum or the National Investment Forum, in terms of policies, in terms of benchmarking of the national regulations, etc., etc. But also we covered all the areas of e-mobility, green hydrogen, water energy food nexus, desalination with renewable energy, and a lot of other areas. So COP27, obviously, as you heard, so the main outcome was obviously the loss and damage fund, which will be targeting, or the main countries benefiting from this fund will be the developing countries that are suffering the most from climate change impact. As mentioned earlier by Mr. Saeed Moulin, we are living in a very challenging climate change and geopolitical context. Obviously, that gives us an opportunity to accelerate the energy transition in the worldwide, but in particular in the Mediterranean region. So COP27 was an opportunity really to advocate for one common voice of the Mediterranean, represented by so many organizations, so including RICRI, Medener, but also the Union for the Mediterranean, and many other organizations. In this regard, obviously, the MedCop, which will be next month in Tangier, will be a very good opportunity to see where we are, what is demanded from us as a regional organization, as countries of the Mediterranean, to position ourselves in the COP28. You know, it obviously is a big show, but at the same time, it's a good opportunity really to meet all the decision makers worldwide and to do, exercise more pressure on the most developed countries and the financial institutions to boost financing, in particular, to commit with their promises in terms of adaptation funds, mitigation as well. So in this regard, definitely it will be a nice opportunity for us to showcase what we are doing, but also to put a pressure on the other side to allow or to finance our project and to support our energy transition project in the region. The COP28 definitely in Dubai is another opportunity. As Arab country, we are in the same region, so it's another occasion where we can definitely advocate and promote what we are doing, and let's work together to bring more funds, in particular for energy efficiency in all the sectors, to decarbonize the building sector, the transport, industry, and agriculture. So we need more investments. We need more effort in terms of improving the governance, more cooperation between the different stakeholders, showing more synergies and more. We complete each other. We need to avoid duplication efforts, but I think there is a space for everyone to work together in this regard. So I don't want to be long here, but again, thanks a lot to our Moroccan colleagues, in particular Ami. We are very proud again for what has been achieved in Morocco at the level of governance, in terms of ministry, ONE, Erezen, Mazen, Ame, INRE. I think they are doing an amazing job. they need to do more, because I know in Morocco there are ambitious targets in terms of increasing the share of renewable by 2030 to 552, in terms of reducing energy consumption by 20% by 2030. So I think there is a long way yet, but I think they are on the good way. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Al-Kharaz, for sharing that. Indeed, very ambitious projects and plans that Madam Minister has shared with us this morning. And as you called for more cooperation, we're all gathered here to work together indeed. Dr. Samir Rashidi, you are a leading expert in renewable energy and green chemistry. You currently are the acting general manager of IRISEN, Institute of Research in Solar Energy and New Energies, which is a public research institute that supports innovation and development in solar energy and new energies in Morocco. You lead a team of researchers and engineers who work on cutting-edge projects and demonstration activities in areas such as power to X, green chemistry, energy storage, concentrated solar power, to name just a few. So as I was mentioning, the minister in her opening remarks this morning shared a very ambitious vision, right? And she mentioned the important role of R&D. What are the challenges and issues of R&D and innovation for energy transition? And what topics are involved?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the question and for the kind introduction. I would not also miss the opportunity to thank the organizer. I'm really humbled by this kind invitation and also the size of the event and the importance of the event. Like also to thank particularly Ame and the leadership of our board member, Mr. Said Moulin, and also to thank my friend also and partner Jawad Al-Kharaz for also his leadership in bringing together the Mediterranean countries, especially in the MENA. Well, for your question, I would say that the challenges for the R&D, the innovation in terms of energy transition would be also copied or on the challenges that are that the energy transition is having. So we have recently an emergency, an urgency in terms of climate change and energy transition. And also we have this energy that has been, bolded by the geopolitical context that we are also mentioning or witnessing. So therefore, for an R&D center, the challenge would be also to accelerate the pace to keep up with innovation and also bring solutions to fight this climate change. And I would also take the opportunity to mention a report from the IEA 2 years ago that mentioned like to achieve the carbon zero, the net zero emission scenario, we need to rely on technologies that doesn't exist still. And therefore innovation is really key now for achieving the carbon neutrality and to be successful in leading an energy transition. Therefore, so lots of pressure. I would say mainly, of course, energy efficiency is one of the key targets, let's say, for energy transition. However, we are also witnessing some key subjects or hot topics like energy storage, because we need to deepen, let's say, the access of new of renewable energies in our networks. Therefore, storage is really a hot topic, and it's really a very diverse. We speak about energy storage, but there are lots of subfamilies, sub-technologies, and we need really to deep dive in each or the most promising technologies, let's say, in order to have for the decision maker a choice. And let's say not to be, and this is also a complexity when it's about researchers. It's difficult to make a choice for technology. So, as a National Energy Institute, we need to be behind, let's say, all the options in terms of technologies, and to try to choose what would be the best, depending on our context, our needs in Morocco particularly, but also in Africa in general. And this is what we are trying to achieve in some of our infrastructure, and together also with the universities that are also benefiting from our research programs. And you could also witness this, and I'm really happy also to welcome you in the Green Energy Park, which is one of our, let's say, flagship kind of deliverable as a research center together with the group of OCP and also the University of Mohammed VI Polytechnic, which are partners on this subject. So I would say in a nutshell that would be it. Emergency, let's say, in terms of achieving innovation for net zero emission scenarios, and also let's say, and I would like also to use this opportunity to insist on the close relationship that needs to have or to be between the public and the private sector, and also universities and the companies and the industry. It's really key. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Cooperation is definitely key indeed, and we definitely look forward to learning more about the Green Energy Park. Dr. Ahmed Mohina, welcome, sir. It's a pleasure to have you with us. You have over 30 years of experience in the Egyptian electricity and renewable energy sector. You are currently First Under-Secretary for Strategic Cooperation. You held several senior positions before that, and in addition, you are a member of the Board of Directors of the Egyptian New and Renewable Energy Authority. So, Egypt updated its nationally determined contribution, and this is in June 2022. Also, Egypt, as we know, is the president of COP27. In this regards, what are the measures that have been taken and adopted by the Ministry of Electricity and Renewable Energy to reduce greenhouse gas emissions?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. صباح الخير على حضراتكم جميعا. Thank you so much. I would like first to thank all organizers of this important event, and also I would like to thank the government of Morocco for hospitality, and I am sure that our event today will achieve its goals after discussion and deliberation. Yes, Egypt is the president of COP27 till COP28 next November, when our brothers from United Arab Emirates will be the responsibility to lead the file of climate change and all over the world. In this regard, Egypt has started its energy transition many years ago, when we set a very ambitious strategy in 2016, targeting 42% from renewable energy as a share of our energy mix. And also we have another target regarding energy efficiency to reserve and to save around 18% by 2035, depending on as a base year of 2010. In this regard, we already achieved the many targets and the many goals to raise the share of renewable energy. We already achieved the medium term from our goals by achieving 20% by the end of last year, 2022, from renewable energy from the peak load. And now, as you mentioned, we are working to update our energy strategy depending on some changes in the international market, depending on the decrease of renewable energy costs, depending on the new technologies as green hydrogen, and also depending on the new technologies of renewable energy cost and so on. So we are working now to update our strategy to raise the share of renewable energy to be more than 42% by 2030. And also, I know that there is many scenarios regarding that. Some scenarios talking about more than 60% by 2040. So we are very keen to deal with the new period in the future to see how we can raise our renewable energy. Depending on the capabilities of Egypt, we have a lot of resources regarding renewable energy. We have around 347 gigawatt as a potential from wind, and also 647 as a potential from the wind energy. But we are working now to validate this information to be accurate data to be available for all investors. And we will depend on the private sector to implement all of our projects in the near future, to give a clear message to the international community that Egypt is very keen and is committed to be a leader in the fight of climate change all over the world as a president of COP27 now. And also, we will give the energy efficiency a very big role in the near future. Let me say that in the last period, we succeeded to decrease the fuel consumption to produce 1 kilowatt hour from 220 gram of fuel to be now 175 gram per kilowatt hour, which means a very big save in the fuel, and also to save the emissions. We succeeded to reduce around 20 million ton from CO2 annually after improving energy efficiency and after adding around 6.8 gigawatts for our grid. To absorb and to evacuate a huge amount of renewable energy to our grid, we are working now to enhance and support our national transmission and distribution grid. So we did a lot of work on that, many hundreds of transmission lines, control centers, distribution grids. A lot of work already has been done in this area, but we are working now to enhance also our transmission grid to absorb a lot more and more from renewable energy in the near future. Also, in the demand side, we are working with the all sectors, industrial sector, residential sector, tourism sector, to see how we can implement a lot of projects in the field of demand side, to see how we can decrease the energy consumption and electricity consumption to reduce our emissions. I think also in the field of small scales of PV systems, we already depend on to disseminate a lot of projects as a small scales under many schemes, need metering, self-consumption scheme, to encourage all of the small consumers to build PV systems on the rooftop, also in the factories, to raise the share of renewable energy, and also to reduce the fuel consumption, and also to reduce the CO2 emissions in Egypt. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's amazing to see this level of commitment, and also to learn about the initiatives that are going on. We will follow up later on with you for future plans, and we would love to hear more about that. Let's stay in Egypt, shall we? I'll turn to you now, Mr. Mohammed Al-Husseini. You are an Egyptian diplomat who worked in the embassies of Egypt in Libya, Warsaw, and Addis Ababa. You worked in the headquarters of the Egyptian Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Cairo from 2018 to 2020 in the Department of International Cooperation, where you were assigned to work on cooperation projects executed by the UNDP and UN Habitat in Egypt. And you joined the Union for the Mediterranean in late 2020 as energy expert in the Energy and Climate Action Division. So what is the role the Union for the Mediterranean is playing to speed up energy transition in the region?
Well, good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here, and I would like in the beginning to thank the organizers for inviting me to come to this lovely place. I'm really happy to be here, and we all know that Morocco is a very promising country when it comes to energy transition and speeding up the dependence on renewables in the region. And I also take the floor here under the hat of working in the UFM Secretariat, but I was also thrilled by what I heard just from Dr. Mohina. It's my country, and I'm really glad that we are seeing all these developments in the direction of achieving energy transition and decarbonization in the Mediterranean countries. My let's say presentation or intervention will be focused on three things. I just make it like that to make it easier for myself before you. So I talk about challenges first, and then opportunities, and then the answer to the question, which is the role the Union for the Mediterranean is playing on this. First, challenges, and I'm sorry to start with problems, but it's the reality and the situation on the ground.
There are also opportunities, right?
Yeah, of course. It depends on how we see them and how we deal with them. But recently, there have been, let's say, many around us. I mean, we have, let's say, problems from the, let's say, caused by our human activity, which affects the environment. We have high temperature waves in the region. It's a very hot region, the Mediterranean one, compared to other regions in the world. And we have, I heard someone talking about Mr. Samir talking about the geopolitics of the region, and what we have seen recently when it comes to the war in Ukraine, the effect on energy prices, the crisis that we saw in energy. Of course, this led later on to a good thing, which is the expansion, or let's say to speed up the transition towards renewables and to decrease the demand on energy in order to offset the gas imports coming from Russia. But in the end, we have a big problem in this direction. We have also a problem of integration. I mean, in the Mediterranean, we have similar cultures, and we share the same sea. However, we have, let's say, if we look at the numbers of trade, they are not really satisfying. Trade is very low in this region, and we have also a problem of immigration, mobility. It's not easy to get the visa to many countries, as we know. So these are all challenges that sometimes undermine our capacity to move forward, and that we see that we need to turn them into opportunities, as you just said. And this takes me to the opportunities. The opportunities is the ones that we just gave from, or that we just took from nature. I mean, the abundance of the solar and wind sources of energy in the south, the cheap labor, cheap wages, cheap land in the south, of course, compared to the north. And this, in my opinion, is the reason why we see the European side is keen to invest more on green hydrogen in the south, because you have all these capacities, and since green hydrogen needs solar energy, you can take the sun from the south. But of course, it still, let's say, needs a lot of progress in terms of finance, in terms of technology. It's a long way to go. Over and above, we have the political will, which I see that many countries in the south are highly persuaded that they need to transition, they need to speed up. Of course, we have some countries that have still big reliance on gas exports, for example, Algeria, Egypt, and so on. But we are talking about gas as a transitional fuel. So given all these, let's say, all these sources for energy, this can be a big opportunity. You get the money and technology from the north, and then in the south, you have the land, you have the labor, you have the renewable sources, and then we can proceed with that. And as a multilateral organization, the Union for the Mediterranean is, let's say, having a wider scope where we don't go that much into technical things because we don't have also the expertise for that. But we provide a platform to bring everyone around the table to get the people together and then try to work to speed up things. We did this recently in a big meeting, in my opinion, in Barcelona, the annual meeting of the OFM Energy Platforms, which was attended by Rikri, Medaner, as well as other stakeholders that work with us. So this is in a nutshell what we are doing as a Union for the Mediterranean and the challenges and opportunities that I referred to in the beginning of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And it is really important indeed to have these type of platforms to foster cooperation. I will switch to French now, so please make sure that you set your interpretation equipment to the right channel to get English or Arabic translation. And just please raise your hand in case you have any problems with that. We'll make sure that someone from the team supports you to follow the conversation. Monsieur Toineau-Kiri, c'est un plaisir de vous avoir parmi nous aujourd'hui. Vous êtes ingénieur d'État en automatisation de l'Institut national d'hydrocarbures et de la chimie en Algérie, avant de se spécialiser en planification énergétique et en gestion opérationnelle des projets et programmes. Vous avez occupé plusieurs fonctions de direction au ministère des Mines et de l'Énergie du Niger, avant de rejoindre la coopération suisse pour diriger un important programme d'infrastructure rurale jusqu'en 2006. Ensuite, vous rejoignez l'Organisation internationale de la francophonie. Puis, après un diplôme de deuxième cycle, vous êtes admis comme coordinateur principal de l'Institut de la francophonie pour le développement durable. Et ça, c'était en avril 2019. Pouvez-vous nous parler du rôle que joue l'IFDD dans la région et de vos activités récentes liées à la promotion d'énergies alternatives telles que l'hydrogène vert?
Merci, Madame la modératrice. Bonjour, Mesdames et Messieurs. Je suis honoré d'être parmi vous. Je suis honoré de parler en français pour donner une chance à la diversité culturelle et honorer cette ville très culturelle de Marrakech, à laquelle nous sommes beaucoup attachés. Oui, je travaille pour la francophonie, notamment pour l'Institut de la francophonie pour le développement durable, qui est un organe spécialisé de l'Organisation internationale de la francophonie, qui a été créé depuis 1988, donc ça fait maintenant 35 ans. Nous sommes basés à Québec, au Canada, et l'Institut a été créé à la base pour répondre à la crise énergétique du début des années 80. Et c'est pour ça que dès le début, l'Institut était spécialisé sur deux questions essentiellement, les questions d'efficacité énergétique et les questions d'énergie renouvelable, et ça depuis 88, c'est-à-dire depuis des années où on n'en parlait pratiquement pas dans le monde. Et c'est pour ça que pour nous, c'est une excellente nouvelle de voir comment les choses ont évolué. Et dès le départ, sur nos 88 États et gouvernements, nous avons des pays membres qui historiquement étaient très impliqués là-dessus et qui étaient des pays assez visionnaires parce que ça fait quand même plus de 30 ans qu'ils travaillent sur ces questions. Et dans cette salle, je peux citer 3 pays. Le Maroc, ça fait des années qu'il travaille sur cette question, la Tunisie et la France. Et ces 3 pays sont des pays membres de la francophonie. Dans les pays membres de MITMED, nous avons 2 régions que nous appelons des régions francophones. Nous avons la région d'Afrique du Nord où nous avons 3 pays qui sont le Maroc, la Tunisie et la Mauritanie. Et récemment, nous avons créé une région que nous appelons Moyen-Orient où nous avons l'Égypte, les Émirats arabes unis et le Qatar. Et donc, comme vous voyez, quand on dit pays membres de la francophonie, ce n'est pas forcément des pays qui ne parlent que français. C'est assez vaste. Il y a des pays qui parlent anglais, il y a des pays qui parlent portugais, il y a des pays qui parlent espagnol qui sont membres de la francophonie. Alors, quels sont les éléments qui sont très importants pour nous sur ce sujet d'efficacité énergétique et quels sont les moments forts qui ont créé? L'Institut de la francophonie pour le développement durable a dès le départ essayé de faire le lien entre les questions énergétiques et les questions environnementales. Et j'ai souvent l'habitude de dire qu'il y a comme un quiproquo entre les énergéticiens et les environnementalistes. Pour les énergéticiens, l'économie d'énergie, c'est pour répondre à la pointe. c'est un problème énergétique. On essaie de régler un problème énergétique par la demande. Pour les environnementalistes, l'énergie, c'est le problème. Parce que 90% des émissions de CO2 viennent de la combustion, donc de l'énergie. Or, ce sont les mêmes qui demandent aux énergéticiens de trouver des solutions au problème de l'énergie. Donc, il y a comme un malentendu entre les énergéticiens et les environnementalistes. Et c'est pour ça que dès le départ, l'Institut, nous avons essayé de faire les liens entre ces deux thématiques. Et un des moments forts que nous avons, c'est ici même à Marrakech, en 2016. Après le moment historique de la 21e conférence des partis de Paris, en France, qui a adopté l'accord de Paris sur le climat, on sait que c'est l'accord sur lequel tout le monde travaille. Ici à Marrakech, à l'initiative de Sa Majesté le Roi, il a été lancé 3 initiatives climat pour la région Afrique, l'initiative climat du bassin du Congo, l'initiative climat de la région du Sahel et l'initiative climat pour les petits États insulaires en développement. Pourquoi c'est important pour nous? Parce que sur les 88 États et gouvernements membres, nous avons 54 qui sont membres de plein droit, dont 31 africains. Donc c'est beaucoup plus que la majorité. Et ce sont des pays en développement qui sont des pays producteurs de pétrole essentiellement. Donc c'est très important pour nous que ces pays s'engagent sur ce lien entre l'énergie et le climat, parce que vous êtes en majorité ici des énergéticiens. Vous parlez de transition énergétique. Quand je voyage, quand je suis en transit, c'est je passe d'un coin à un autre. Mais quand on pense de transition énergétique, on passe d'où à où? Pour les énergéticiens, on passe d'une consommation énergétique désordonnée à une consommation énergétique ordonnée. Mais pour les environnementalistes, on passe d'une consommation énergétique tout azimut à une consommation énergétique qui est économe en énergie et donc qui évite les émissions de gaz à effet de serre. Il faut concilier ces deux concepts. Et c'est à ça que nous essayons de travailler. Et c'est pour ça que nous nous sommes toujours projetés pour l'avenir. Et je vous dirais que un des éléments qui nous interroge pour l'avenir présentement, c'est des débats qui ont lieu en particulier autour de la Méditerranée. C'est le débat, et tout à l'heure, je crois que la ministre, ou c'est notre collègue qui l'a dit, le Maroc est le seul partenaire de l'Europe sur les questions des émissions de CO2. Donc nous sommes en train de nous poser des questions, quel lien nous allons faire entre ces questions d'efficacité énergétique et le marché carbone. Le marché carbone est en train de se développer. Malheureusement, il est en train de se développer de manière anarchique en Afrique. Donc, quelque part, on va en discuter cet après-midi. La deuxième chose qui est un gros débat autour de la Méditerranée, c'est la question de l'hydrogène vert. C'est un débat qui n'existe pratiquement pas dans la plupart de nos pays francophones. Donc ça, c'est quelque chose sur lequel aussi nous sommes en train de nous poser des questions sur comment on va faire le lien. Et enfin, qu'est-ce que nous faisons là-dedans? Nous faisons des travaux essentiellement de renforcement des capacités, des questions de formation, d'accompagnement des pays pour se doter de politiques énergétiques qui soient efficaces, de partage d'expériences telles que nous le faisons ici, et de valorisation et surtout de valorisation des bonnes pratiques. Et nous pensons que ce que fait MITMED, ce sont des bonnes pratiques que nous gagnerons à étendre dans tout l'espace francophone. Et souvent, détrompez-vous, pas seulement dans les pays du Sud, parfois même dans les pays du Nord. Parce que je vous signale que nous avons des pays d'Amérique du Nord qui sont membres de la francophonie. Ce ne sont pas vraiment les champions en termes d'efficacité énergétique. Donc, quelque part, ça prend d'avoir vos expériences et de les partager de l'autre côté aussi. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. Merci pour cette contribution très riche. Nous reviendrons vers vous tout à l'heure pour une seconde question. Je vais enchaîner avec vous en français, Monsieur Mohamed Bernanou. Vous êtes actuellement membre du Conseil de l'Autorité nationale de régulation de l'électricité après votre nomination par le chef du gouvernement en août 2020. En 2018, vous rejoignez le cabinet du ministre de l'Énergie en tant que conseiller énergie. Auparavant, en 2015, vous étiez directeur général du cluster solaire et du Moroccan Climate Innovation Center, mis en place par la Banque mondiale. Et avant cela, en 2010, vous aviez rejoint Mazen, Moroccan Agency for Sustainable Energy, en tant que chargé de mission senior, où vous avez occupé plusieurs postes de responsabilité. Alors, ma question pour vous est la suivante. En tant qu'expert, quelle transition énergétique choisir pour faire face à l'urgence climatique et comment intégrer et gérer les incertitudes et risques de la transition?
Merci madame, merci beaucoup. Avant tout, permettez-moi de remercier les organisations pour cet événement qui est un événement extrêmement important et qui porte sur une thématique qui est parmi les plus importantes pour l'humanité de manière générale. On est en train de vivre quelque part en fait une rupture entre le passé et l'avenir. Il y a une révolution qui est dans l'air et il faut, pour le savoir, en fait, il n'y a qu'à regarder un peu ce qui se passe en termes de climat. L'année 2022 était parmi les années les plus chaudes de l'humanité, en fait. Je pense que c'est la 6e année la plus chaude de l'humanité. Et l'année 2023 est l'une des années les plus sèches dans le parcours méditerranéen. Ce qui veut dire quelque part en fait qu'on est en train de faire face à des défis énormes en matière de changement climatique. C'est le résultat direct, et en fait je pense qu'il y a une étude du GIEC qui l'a démontré, ces changements ou ces épisodes de sécheresse n'auraient pas dû quelque part occurrer s'il n'y avait pas le changement climatique. Et donc l'un des moyens les plus efficaces justement pour résoudre le problème des changements climatiques ou pour faire face au changement climatique et la transition énergétique. Sans rentrer dans le débat de la transition, du terme transition énergétique, ce que je veux dire en fait que déjà, en soi, la transition énergétique est un défi énorme. Il est énorme de par la taille d'abord. On est en train de parler d'investissements de l'ordre de 4 milliards de dollars par an jusqu'à l'an 2030. Donc déjà en termes de taille des investissements, c'est énorme. Il est aussi un défi important et en fait c'est l'un des défis les plus importants pour l'humanité, pour l'urgence de l'action. Donc il y a deux événements, en fait il y a deux éléments ou deux contraintes, il y a la taille des projets et l'urgence de la problématique. Et donc pour y faire face, en fait, il faudrait très rapidement, on entend par là, à côté, en fait, on entend pas mal d'initiatives, ils sont les bienvenus, mais on a besoin quand même de planifier le chemin vers la transition énergétique. Et moi, j'ai souhaité, en fait, lorsqu'on a commencé à discuter à propos de cet événement, j'ai souhaité éclairer un peu sur cet aspect, en fait, de comment réussir la transition énergétique et comment prendre en compte, en considération, les incertitudes et les risques. Parce qu'il y a des risques et des incertitudes. Certainement, il y a des opportunités. Sinon, on ne serait pas là. Il y a des opportunités énormes, mais il y a aussi des risques et des incertitudes qu'il faut absolument prendre en considération. Mais avant cela, si vous me permettez, en fait, j'aimerais bien parler un peu de l'ANRE. Parce que l'ANRE est une autorité de régulation, c'est une autorité autonome de régulation de l'énergie, plutôt de l'électricité pour l'instant, et qui a pour objectif en fait de réguler le secteur de l'électricité au Maroc. Il a été créé en 2015 par la loi 48-15. Il est entré en vigueur en 2020. On a 3 ou 4 grandes missions en matière d'électricité. La première, en fait, c'est d'accompagner le développement du marché. La deuxième, c'est de définir les tarifs d'accès et d'utilisation du réseau. Troisième, c'est valider les investissements, et je vais en parler tout à l'heure, en fait, parce que les investissements sont un élément important pour la transition énergétique. Et puis après, on a un organe à côté qui s'appelle l'organe de résolution des litiges, qui est là pour, s'il y a un litige entre l'opérateur ou les opérateurs et un investisseur, l'ANRE peut parfaitement en fait, apporter son avis par rapport à ça. Donc aujourd'hui, on est en train de travailler sur un ensemble d'éléments structurants pour le secteur de l'électricité et de l'énergie de manière générale au Maroc. D'abord, on a publié le premier code réseau au Maroc en 2021. En fait, le code réseau, il définit quelque part les prescriptions qui permettent à chaque utilisateur d'utiliser le réseau. Donc, il définit les prescriptions techniques et c'est très important parce que ça permet de standardiser l'accès au réseau et de permettre de donner de l'information aux investisseurs. Aujourd'hui, on a publié la méthodologie tarifaire en décembre 2022. Et très prochainement, on va publier le tarif d'utilisation du réseau. Donc, c'est un élément aussi important qui va permettre d'accélérer le développement des projets énergie renouvelable. Et je pense que d'ici la fin de l'année, on va terminer les grandes briques qui manquent pour le développement des énergies renouvelables au Maroc et de manière générale, en fait, l'électricité, le secteur de l'électricité, définir le tarif de l'excédent et valider les investissements dans le réseau. Donc, je vais revenir un peu comment prendre en charge, comment prendre en considération les défis. D'abord, quelles sont les incertitudes? Si vous me le permettez, en fait, je les vois en 3 grandes catégories. Il y a des incertitudes économiques, D'abord technologiques, il y a des incertitudes économiques, il y a des incertitudes sociales. Et chaque catégorie, on a besoin de l'aborder d'une manière spécifique. Pour la technologie, on a commencé à en parler par rapport aux télécoms, on a travaillé ensemble dans le secteur de télécom. Il y a 20 ans, en fait, le secteur de l'énergie, en fait, il était relativement un secteur mature qui se développe de manière smooth, comme on dit. Aujourd'hui, il y a énormément d'évolutions et il y a beaucoup d'incertitudes technologiques dans ce secteur. Donc, on est sur un secteur où il y a une incertitude technologique sur un ensemble d'éléments. D'abord, sur les sources d'énergie. Ensuite, je pense que si Samir il en a parlé, sur le stockage. Quelle orientation va prendre le marché? Est-ce que c'est le stockage batterie, stockage hydraulique, l'hydrogène, d'autres sources de stockage mécanique? Donc, il y a un ensemble de questionnements et d'incertitudes technologiques qui sont posées. Il faudrait, si on veut réussir la transition énergétique, leur apporter une réponse. Une réponse parce que je ne pense pas en fait qu'on puisse arriver à réussir la transition énergétique sans lever les verrous technologiques. Il faut absolument lever ces verrous technologiques avant d'aborder, ou plutôt durant, en abordant la transition énergétique. La deuxième catégorie en fait d'incertitude, il concerne tout ce qui est économique. En termes de marché, on l'a vu avec les risques géopolitiques et la crise énergétique de 2022. En fait, on était sur un train très intéressant, et puis après, d'un seul coup, on est revenu au charbon. L'année 2022 est l'une des années les plus absurdes, parce que d'un côté, on est en train de promouvoir le développement des énergies renouvelables, et de l'autre côté, c'est l'année où on a utilisé le plus de charbon pour produire l'électricité. Donc, et en fait, c'est pas une critique, c'est juste pour dire que il faut prendre ces aspects-là d'incertitude et de sécurité énergétique qui a pris une ampleur extrêmement importante dans la planification de la transition énergétique. Donc, c'est les aspects économiques, les orientations de marché, la demande, ce sont des aspects qu'il faut absolument intégrer dès le début dans la transition énergétique. Le troisième volet, c'est le social. Alors, on l'a vu en fait en Europe, il y a pas mal de mouvements pour réussir ce défi, je pense en fait inimaginable en fait auquel on est en train de faire face, il faut vraiment impliquer toutes les parties prenantes. Et toutes les parties prenantes, c'est pas simplement les acteurs, que sont les gens qui sont avec nous, aussi les collègues, c'est aussi le citoyen. Il faut embarquer le citoyen dans la transition énergétique. Et les territoires, je pense que ce sont les éléments les plus importants auxquels on devrait, et si ce sont quelque part des incertitudes, des risques, il ne faut pas oublier les opportunités. Les opportunités, en fait, on est en face d'un marché et d'une opportunité surtout pour les pays méditerranéens, en fait, qui va nous permettre en fait, de se positionner sur des marchés extrêmement importants. Voilà ce que je voulais partager avec vous aujourd'hui sur la transition énergétique. Maintenant, qu'est-ce que nous, on peut apporter, en fait, de manière générale, parce que je pense qu'on aura tout à l'heure. Juste, en fait, nous, en tant que régulateurs, on est là pour accompagner le développement, accompagner et assister et supporter le développement de la transition énergétique. Merci.
Merci infiniment. Merci pour ce partage très riche, pour cette catégorisation aussi qui met les idées au clair. On reviendra vers vous, comme je le disais ultérieurement, pour poursuivre cette conversation. All right, how are we doing in the room? Good? We'll go for a second round of questions. All of you who are watching us on the streaming, typing "I'm doing okay" in the comments. So we'll make sure that you're staying with us. We have a second round of questions. I'll ask our esteemed panelists to give shorter answers, and then we will all break for a coffee break, okay? So in this second round of questions, we will be focusing on the future and on your recommendations as experts for energy and climate transition in the Mediterranean region. Mr. Giorgio Graditi, team, if you could put him back on the screen, I would love to start the second round with you. Taken into consideration your expertise in the renewable energy field and energy system integration, what do you suggest as next steps to support the energy system integration towards the decarbonization of the Mediterranean region?
Okay, thanks for Fesli, thanks for this very interesting question. So the concept of energy efficiency and renewable energy sources is crucial for fostering the energy transition, and it's acknowledged and disseminated. But we need now to take a step beyond, looking at the smart sector integration, which is the concept underlying a successful decarbonization of the Mediterranean region, involving coordinating the planning and operation of the electricity system with other mutually interacting systems. So this strategy aims to better link the different energy sectors in the European Union and Mediterranean area, such as electricity, gas, renewable gas, hydrogen, buildings, transport, and industry, to help them reduce carbon emissions. This is the main goal. So this means replacing fossil fuels with renewable electricity or with other renewable and low carbon fuels where electrification is not possible, is not convenient, while ensuring energy remains secure and affordable. So a hybrid energy system of both electricity and renewable gases with cross-border energy carriers infrastructure as a backbone will result in increased flexibility, storage, and security of supply. During this international energy crisis, the need to collaborate and the topic of energy security have become of paramount importance in the Mediterranean region for the northern and southern countries. In 2021, the Ministries of Energy of the Union for Mediterranean, 42 members, including the 27 European members and the 15 Southeast Mediterranean countries, approved a joint ministerial declaration on energy in which all UFM member states agreed to join efforts to address the region's energy challenges and to promote a sustainable and inclusive recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. The declaration raises the ambition of the region to give a contribution to a green, just and fair energy transition and tackling all the existing opportunities in line with the climate goals. The declaration has 16 goals, and the mandate is given to the UFM energy platforms to elaborate a drafted roadmap for action in line with these objects, and after adoption, support its implementation. Among the 16 goals, the ministers of the Union for the Mediterranean in charge of energy, I would like to underline, express the political intention to further support regulatory and policy measures necessary to achieve regional integration of energy system and markets in the Euro-Mediterranean region, to increase flexibility for accommodating a higher rate of sustainable renewables, to achieve significant economics of scale and to increase security of supply and demand, also by promoting the reinforcement of electricity interconnection at regional and Euromed level, promoting adequate support schemes and streamlining administrative procedures in Euro-Mediterranean region. And the second one is to envisage to jointly work to strengthen the regional electricity interconnection, smart grids, and digitalization, for which cybersecurity requirements are an important element, increase electricity exchange when necessary, and interoperability, harmonize technical operating rules, regulation, and electricity pricing methodologies for transmission network, taking into account national consideration concerns. It's clear and staged the need for regional integration of energy system and markets in the region, and highlighted the important role of regional energy association organizations, including MEDENER, MEDFREG, MEDCO, OME, or REPRI, that enable for a bottom-up approach for exchanging experience and reaching common understanding towards the harmonization of energy system around the region. As a relevant stakeholder with the UFM Energy Platform, MEDENER is collaborating with the other stakeholders to enable the path towards the ambition challenge of a regional integrating of an energy systems, looking at the smart sector integration, and the main aims of decarbonization security of supply. Indeed, more efforts and investment are needed to make the cooperation effective, concrete, and the stakeholders shall work together on accelerating the development of energies of the future, such as hydrogen. In conclusion, to make the dialogue between the Mediterranean countries fruitful and useful, certain measures must be taken. The different projects promoted by industries and institutions must be implemented according to a programmatic, structured approach that also looks at the long term and focuses on innovation. Substantial investments must be made. Long-term policies from the European Union and the organization of a real green recovery are needed, such as the exchange of technology and solution following technology neutrality approach to bring all the countries of the area closer to the green models.
And thank you very much, Mr. Giorgio Graditi, for sharing that and for joining us from Roma. Thank you again.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you. So I'll move on to you, Dr. Jawad Al-Kharraz. Same in a brief answer as a conclusion, because I want to make sure that I honor your time and that we stay on schedule. We are living a complex international geopolitical context, to say the least, right? What is needed to accelerate energy transition for the region, and how MeetMed project can contribute to that?
Thank you very much for the question. Indeed, so as I mentioned already, so we are living in a very challenging geopolitical and climate context. And obviously, that has an impact on energy transition process. When the war started in Ukraine, so everyone was worried about, because immediately after that, some European countries, including Germany, it took some measures like step back in terms of energy transition. So we're like, let's say, international community worried about, what's going to happen. But I think it's also revealed a big opportunity for all the countries, mainly the Mediterranean countries. So I think the Mediterranean countries call it to be a regional hub for the future green hydrogen economy. So as you know, Germany and many countries in Europe are pushing for this transformation to the green hydrogen economy and the power-to-X in general. There is a big potential in our countries of the region in terms of, as mentioned already by my colleague Husseini from UFM. So we have very cheap renewable energy, electricity prices. We have very, a big potential of renewable solar and wind mainly. We have all, the capacities. So in terms of, obviously there is a different level of progress in terms of energy transition in the countries. So some countries, like I can say, they are considered champions, at least the South Mediterranean shore, like Morocco, like Tunisia in terms of energy efficiency, like Egypt. Some others are struggling because of political economic situation. But again, the potential is there in terms of we need maybe to still improve the institutional setup, the governance. The regulatory framework also is important. So obviously, organized like in Morocco, we have INRO, at the regional level we have MedReg. So the regulatory framework is important for the whole energy transition, the supply chain. But in particular, for example, now for green hydrogen, we are called to adapt our regulations to enable the right environment to attract investment in this area. In terms of technology and R&D, it's important also to raise investment there. So I know Morocco areas and they are doing a good effort. So we need to invest more in R&D at the level of research institutes and the universities to support this transition, because now everyone is talking about green hydrogen, but now the prices are still not affordable. So we need the scale up of the technology. We need a lot of efforts, to improve energy efficiency of electrolyzers, etc. There's another issue also, is we need also to go for more resource efficiency policies, more coordination with other sectors, water, agriculture. So now to produce 1 kilogram of green hydrogen, we need like 9 or 10 liters of high quality water. So that means that in the region with water scarcity challenge, it's challenging, but hopefully we have desalination as possible solution. We need also a lot of capacity development effort to be done. So we need to enable or to create the next generation of energy managers in the region, and including green hydrogen specialists. We need also more effort in terms of sharing knowledge and good practices. In some, also we need more innovative financial mechanisms. We're going to talk about these days during the Midway week. So definitely we need to encourage more involvement of the local banks, international financial institutions, coming up with a new innovative mechanism, not only auctions or competitive bids and some other formulas or mechanisms that could enable really the energy transition to accelerate. So I think more or less this is what I can highlight here. Obviously, we have more time to discuss during these days about these issues. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Jawad Kharaz. Thank you. Indeed, you'll have more time to discuss all this. Dr. Jawad offered me the perfect...
Just to, I forgot to mention, obviously, we asked about MITMED. So MITMED, I mean, why we developed that MITMED project, I mean, it came in a momentum where, you know, the building sector is one of the most contributors to the, energy consumptions worldwide. We're talking about 40%. And in terms of carbon dioxide emissions, energy related, are also around 26 to 36%. So I think it's important for us to focus on decarbonizing the building sector and focusing energy efficiency measures. That's why, I mean, we are working together with Mediner and the different agencies. We are, thankful to the European Commission, the engineer, for their support. I think it's very important, the work that we are doing in terms of energy efficiency in building appliances. And definitely this would contribute to the energy transition process in the region. And hopefully all the local agencies, Morocco and all the local agencies are contributing to this effort. And we are looking really forward to having a good achievement by the end of the project next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jawad Kharaz, for completing that. And we were just joined by Mrs. Cristina Casella from European Commission. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you with us. And we will have the privilege to hear your keynote just after the break when we finish this panel. Thank you. As I was saying, you were offering me the perfect transition to go to Mr. Samir as a concluding remark on R&D and the role you see R&D having in the future. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll try to be brief. I know that time is ticking. Let's finish on a positive note. And as a researcher paid by the tax money, I am also paid to imagine with my colleagues the future and design or at least test and validate the technologies of the future. And in this regards and in this forum, I would like to have also to share a theme, because of course the context is a bit difficult and challenging. And as you mentioned, previously in each challenge there is an opportunity, and I see here together in the MENA region, also together with the European partners countries, a real opportunity to bring back or to create a resilient, high impact, high added value green industry. And in this regards, for example, if we take, of course, there are lots of opportunities. Green hydrogen is one of them. It has been mentioned by my fellow colleagues, my fellow panelists. But to produce green hydrogen, of course, there is technology challenge, technology also uncertainty. But what we are sure of is that we need solar panels and wind blades. And to my knowledge, 10 out of 10 panels that are produced today, 9.5 probably are produced elsewhere. And the EU, for example, will need in the Repower EU program, we are in the post-COVID area, we have seen the prices, we have seen the challenges in the supply chain, etc., transportation material, etc. So we need to create here with Egypt, with Tunisia, with Morocco, with Europe, where lots of fleurons, as we say in French, that high added value companies, startups, and big groups who are still having, of course, the PV, for example, industry has difficulties and challenges in Europe, but we're still having the knowledge, the know-how, the machinery as well. So we could, in an impulse of hope and also impulse of a proactive hope, let's say, together think about how we could bring together this industry to the region, how we could bring together to think about the uncertainties in terms of electrolysis, what would be the technology that we'll take afterwards for the green chemistry, etc. So these are really the key message I would like to convey in this venue, in this assembly. And R&D is at the background of this. I mean, in our platforms, in our universities, in all the private companies, laboratories, etc., we are here to be a playground for companies, for industry, for also institutions to develop these technologies, to de-risk the investments, and to create back this industry that will also be born by human capital, which is also a key and a result of expertise and the R&D that is developed in our laboratory. The human capital is key capacity building. So I would like also to share this, and thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and it is a playground that is very much needed indeed, and thank you for ending with a positive note. Mr. Mohammed Al-Husseini, as a final remark, also briefly, what are the main outcomes of the annual meeting of the UFM Energy Platforms, which took place in Barcelona in the first week of May? You can go ahead, I think it works when
This time, okay, thank you. You're, let's say, more experienced on this than me. Anyway, I'll try to be brief as you recommended, and just to say that most of the time accused by, let's say, my friends that since I work in a multilateral organization that you, Mohammed, you talk much, you do little. So I will try to give, let's say, 2 or 3 things that we came up with during our last meeting in Barcelona, the annual meeting of the UFM Energy Platforms. But before that, I will also refer to what Mr. Graditi mentioned regarding the ministerial declaration on energy that was approved in 2021. I think this in itself was a milestone because, as I mentioned, we have differences among the Mediterranean countries in the north and south. You have different capabilities, you have different in terms of technology, in terms of the economic situation, in terms of resources. So to bring 43 member states together and to come up with a document to pave the way for the work on energy in the region for the period to come is a milestone in itself. And based on this ministerial declaration, there was a roadmap for action on energy that was in Barcelona. We got the people together, the member states, the stakeholders, of course, under the co-presidency of the European Commission and Jordan. And we agreed that there should be interim review of this roadmap for action on energy. The roadmap, I see it